Ashley Miller had always been the kind of woman who made things work, even when life fell apart. She knew how to gather the pieces, dust them off, and arrange them neatly so no one noticed the cracks. Her life wasn't grand or easy. It was built from quiet endurance. She worked double shifts as a nurse at St. Mary's Hospital, often coming home with aching feet, a stiff neck, and the lingering scent of antiseptic on her skin. And yet, the moment she stepped through her front door, she became something else. A mother, a caretaker, a provider, a constant. Her little girl, Lily, was 8 years old, with eyes that saw the world differently. Autism didn't make her less. It made her luminous, unique, wrapped in her own melody of sounds and silence. Ashley's world revolved around her daughter's needs: therapy appointments, sensory breaks, structured routines. Every day was a careful dance between exhaustion and devotion, and still, she made time for everyone else. Her mother, Evelyn, had always been the family matriarch, elegant, sharp-tongued, and manipulative beneath her charm. She had a way of turning favors into debts and affection into obligation. Ashley's older brother, Ben, was the golden child, charming, reckless, forever forgiven. And her younger sister, Marcy, was a carbon copy of their mother, dramatic, self-centered, and perpetually overwhelmed by life. But Ashley? She was the reliable one. The helper. The invisible glue. She planned every holiday dinner. She remembered every birthday. When Ben forgot to bring dessert, Ashley baked too. When Marcy was too tired to help, Ashley stayed up past midnight cleaning the kitchen, even when her mother snapped, "Why didn't you iron the tablecloth?" Ashley only smiled and said softly, "I'll fix it." Because that's what she did. She fixed everything. That December, she was running on fumes. Between 12-hour hospital shifts and Lily's school meetings, she hadn't slept properly in days. But Christmas was approaching, and her mother expected perfection. Ashley spent her evenings stirring cranberry sauce, wrapping gifts, and writing menus while Lily colored ornaments beside her. Every year, it was the same. Her mother hosted, but Ashley did the work. One night, as snow whispered against the windows, Ashley glanced at the glowing digital clock. 11:42 p.m. She was icing cookies shaped like stars. Her hands trembled from fatigue, but she kept going. Her mother's voice echoed in her mind, "Don't embarrass me this year, Ashley. Last time, the gravy was too salty." She smiled tiredly to herself. "Of course, Mom," she whispered to the empty kitchen. She didn't know yet that this Christmas would be different, that this year, the universe was about to give her permission to stop being perfect. 3 days before Christmas, she got the text. She was sitting in the hospital break room, sipping lukewarm coffee. The fluorescent lights flickered overhead, and someone's radio hummed softly in the background. When her phone buzzed, she smiled, expecting it to be her mother with another grocery request. Instead, the message read, "Mom, you don't need to come this year. We've decided to keep Christmas small." No emojis. No warmth. Just that. Ashley stared at the screen for a full minute, blinking as if the words might rearrange themselves. Her throat tightened. She read it again, and again. Her stomach dropped with that slow, cold realization. This wasn't a mistake. Her mother had uninvited her. She tried to laugh at first, whispering, That's ridiculous." But no one was there to hear her. The laughter died before it reached her lips. She had made the tablecloths, bought the gifts, cooked half the food, and yet, she wasn't welcomed. A coworker named Jenna walked in, saw Ashley's pale face, and asked, "Hey, you okay?" Ashley forced a smile. "Yeah. Just family stuff." It was the kind of answer that hid more than it revealed. Inside, something small and tired began to snap. That night, Ashley drove home through falling snow. Christmas lights glowed in every window, each one a reminder of the warmth she'd never been given freely. When she got home, Lily was building a tower of toy blocks, humming softly, "Mommy, are we going to Grandma's for Christmas?" she asked innocently. Ashley froze. She knelt beside her daughter and brushed a strand of hair from her face. "No, sweetheart," she said gently. "This year, we're staying home. Just us." Ashley smiled faintly. Just us. For the first time in years, those two words didn't feel lonely. They felt safe. Over the next 2 days, she did something no one in her family would have believed possible. She stopped answering her phone. She didn't rush to explain herself. She didn't apologize. Instead, she cleaned her small apartment, played Christmas music with Lily, and baked cookies shaped like cats and snowmen. They laughed when the frosting dripped unevenly. They watched Home Alone twice. They built a blanket fort in the living room, and as the snow kept falling, Ashley realized something astonishing. Peace didn't come from keeping others happy. It came from letting go. On Christmas morning, her phone buzzed again. Her mother's name flashing on the screen. She hesitated, then answered. "Mom," she said quietly. Her mother's voice was sweet and brittle. "Why didn't you come, Ashley? You know your brother brought that special ham you like." Ashley took a breath. "Because you told me not to come." Her mother paused. "Well, I didn't mean it like that. You're too sensitive. You could have just shown up." Ashley's tone was calm, steady. No, Mom. I did what you asked. You said not to come. So I listened." There was silence on the other end, the kind that comes when control slips through someone's fingers. Finally, Evelyn snapped. "You've changed." Ashley smiled softly. "I know." That winter, Ashley started making small, quiet decisions that changed everything. She took extra shifts at work, not out of guilt, but for purpose. She opened a savings account, one her mother didn't know about, and named it Lily's Future. She transferred $3,200 that her mother expected her to donate to the family charity, and used it to fund Lily's therapy program and new communication device. For once, every dollar she earned went towards something that mattered. Her world didn't suddenly become easy, but it became hers, and that, she realized, was enough. When spring came, her family tried to resume the old pattern. Her mother called with guilt-laced invitations. "We miss you, dear. You know how family is." But Ashley had changed too much to go back. She still answered sometimes, with politeness, not obedience. She still listened, but no longer absorbed the pain, and little by little, she became something her family had never prepared for: free. Time moved differently after that winter. At first, it crept. Days blurred into one another: work, therapy appointments, quiet evenings at home. But gradually, something shifted. The silence that used to feel heavy began to feel peaceful. Ashley no longer felt the constant pressure to answer every message, fix every problem, or soften every truth. Her world became smaller, yes, but also clearer, warmer, real. That a new kind of morning. It was a cool March morning when Ashley realized she hadn't cried in weeks. Lily sat at the table, spreading peanut butter on toast, humming off-key to a cartoon song. Sunlight streamed through the curtains, painting golden stripes across the kitchen floor. Ashley poured herself coffee and leaned against the counter, watching her daughter. For years, she defined success by what others thought of her, by how much she gave, how useful she was, how well she managed to keep everyone happy. But now, for the first time, she understood something simple. Peace didn't come from being needed. It came from being free. She smiled to herself, quietly. It felt strange, this calm. Strange and sacred. The attempt to pull her back, of course. Her family didn't let go easily. First came the guilt texts. "You know your mother isn't feeling well. It's not the same without you. You're breaking her heart, Ashley." Then came the calls she didn't answer. The messages left unread. The sudden friendliness that always came before another demand. Her sister, Marcy, sent a photo from Easter dinner. The long table, the golden plates, everyone smiling. In the corner of the image, Ashley noticed something small but telling. The spot where she always sat was empty. That it looked fine without her, and for the first time, that didn't hurt. It felt liberating. She didn't need to be there to prove her love. The visit in late May. Her mother showed up at her apartment again. This time, Ashley didn't hesitate. She opened the door, greeted her politely, and let her in. Evelyn walked in wearing her usual air of command, the kind that had once made Ashley shrink. The apartment smelled of coffee and vanilla candles. Lily's drawings covered the walls, bright, joyful, chaotic. Evelyn's eyes scanned them critically. "Well," she said, "you've made yourself comfortable." "I have," Ashley replied. Her mother sat down on the couch and sighed. "You've been avoiding everyone. We're family, Ashley. You don't just disappear." Ashley folded her hands in her lap. "I didn't disappear. I just stopped showing up to places where I wasn't respected." Her mother's eyes narrowed. "Don't be dramatic." "I'm not," Ashley said gently. "I'm being honest. There's a difference. There was a silence, long, brittle, filled with old ghosts. Finally, Evelyn spoke. You've always been too sensitive. Always overthinking, taking things the wrong way. I never meant to hurt you. Ashley tilted her head, studying her mother's face, the same familiar mask she'd spent her whole life trying to read. Mom, she said softly, you don't have to mean it for it to hurt. That sentence landed like glass breaking on marble, quiet, sharp, irreversible. Evelyn blinked, unsure what to say. For the first time, she seemed smaller. She looked around again, her eyes falling on a framed picture of Ashley and Lily at the lake. You seem happy, she said, her voice hesitant, almost questioning. I am, Ashley said. For the first time in a long time. Her mother tried to smile, but it faltered. Well, I suppose that's what matters. She stood, straightened her coat, and paused at the door. You'll come visit soon? Ashley's voice was calm. I don't think so, Mom. But thank you for stopping by. The look on Evelyn's face, a mix of confusion and loss, lingered in Ashley's mind long after she left, but this time, she didn't feel guilt, only relief. The rebuilding summer came softly, the world outside bloomed, and so did Ashley's life. She started painting again, something she hadn't done since college. Sometimes, Lily would join her, pressing small hands into bright paint and laughing when the colors mixed. The walls of their apartment slowly became a gallery of their new life. Messy, colorful, and free. Ashley also began volunteering at a local community center, helping single parents find affordable therapy and resources for children with autism. Her story, once a private ache, became a quiet source of strength for others. People would ask, how did you manage all this on your own? And she'd smile, not out of pride, but gratitude. I stopped waiting for people to save me, she'd say. And started saving myself. The letter in September, a letter arrived in the mail. The handwriting was familiar. Her brother, Ben, read, Mom isn't doing great. She misses you. We all do. Maybe it's time to move past this. Ashley sat with the letter for a while, the paper soft and warm in her hands. Move past this, she traced the words slowly, feeling the weight of what they really meant. That it wasn't an apology. It was an invitation to pretend nothing had happened, to go back to a version of herself that no longer existed. She folded the letter carefully, placed it in a drawer, and whispered, no more pretending. The Christmas that belonged to her that December, exactly 1 year after that text, Ashley and Lily spent Christmas in their own way. They bought a small tree, decorated it with paper stars and little wooden animals. They baked cookies that weren't perfectly shaped. They sang songs off-key, laughed until their sides hurt, and fell asleep under soft lights. No drama. No guilt, just warmth. As the clock struck midnight, snow began to fall outside. Ashley stood by the window, a cup of tea warming her hands, and watched the world turn white again. This time last year, she'd been uninvited. This year, she was free, and freedom, she realized, wasn't the absence of family. It was the presence of peace. She turned to look at Lily sleeping on the couch, clutching her stuffed cat. Ashley smiled softly. Her life wasn't perfect. It wasn't easy. But it was hers. Every choice, every boundary, every quiet no. It had all led here. The epilogue. A lesson in silence. Months later, a mutual friend told Ashley that her mother had been talking about her again. How distant she'd become, how ungrateful. Ashley only smiled. Not with bitterness, but with understanding. Some people never change. But you don't have to stay trapped waiting for them to. She'd spent years carrying the weight of everyone else's expectations. Now, she walked lighter, unburdened, steady, at peace, and when people asked her what had happened, she would simply say, I stopped trying to earn a place at a table that was never built for me. Sparkles. Because sometimes, the strongest thing you can do isn't fight back. It's walk away, quietly, and rebuild your own table. Dizzy. The end.